Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're looking at the Spyderco Sage 3. And here we have our Spyderco Sage 3. Unfortunately, this knife is being discontinued by Spyderco, but I wanted to do a review on it anyhow because it is one of my favorites to carry with argyle socks. Anyhow, our closed length on this guy is 4.3 inches with a handle thickness of just under 0.4, so it's pretty skinny, and a closed height of 1.77, so this guy is kind of tall. And it's built well, though. We've got our G10 and carbon fiber laminate, and it's got this design on here that, makes me feel like I need argyle socks, but, that's all right. And our hardware is, of course, Spyderco quality. The recesses for the Torx bit is deep enough that you're not going to be tearing Torx bits up. Our lever for the bolt action lock has a nice design to it and works very, very well. And as we roll it on around, it is not flow through. It's sealed back. And our pocket clip is that wire pocket clip, which I love. One, because it's fairly deep carry on this model. And secondly, because every edge is rounded, so if you get up against something, you're not going to scratch it from the pocket clip, which is just a beautiful thing. And next, we'll go into a little bit of size comparison, see what we get here. We've got a Delica, and our Delica is about the same size, but a bunch lighter. It's almost an ounce lighter, if I remember correctly. And we'll leave that Delica up there. We'll throw in a Rat number 1. Now, the Rat is bigger and heavier in almost every dimension except for this height dimension. The Rat is much shorter there. Makes it a little shorter profile in the pocket, a little further against the back of your pocket without getting in the way. And that's one of the problems with these, what I'm going to call pancake style Spydercos, is they make, for such a small knife, they make kind of a big pocket profile, whether they have a hump on them or whether they've got the full leaf-shaped blade. It's, like I said, it's kind of a pancake design, which, I like them, but that does bother me. Now, they do make wonderful back pocket knives. So as far as size, it's pretty small, but it's got this big thing right here. Anyhow, let's get a look at it in the pocket and see how that turns out. Here's our trusty pair of Levi's. And you slide this guy down in the pocket, and it's nice. It sits pretty low, don't have much sticking out here, and it doesn't get caught on things. We'll put it all the way against the back of the pocket. And here's the thing. It takes up that much space in your pocket. That's something to consider. If we go to a Rat 1, I'll hold my finger here. And the Rat 1's a lot bigger knife, but it's taken up a ½ inch or more less in your pocket. So that's something to consider with the Sage or the Mannix and a few of the other Spydercos. And from here, we'll go to our pause and read card, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, this thing is running on your standard pivot. It's a sleeve with a Torx screw on either side and some big old fat phosphor bronze bushings, and it works beautifully. Our lock mechanism is the Blackie Collins bolt action lock, and I really, really like this lock. We're not going to take it apart, but a quick overview on how it works. We have this flat here on the tang of the blade, very similar to an axis lock right there. And whenever we rotate this knife around, we have another spot on the blade that hits the stop pin that you can see down in there. And watch the levers here. They move up, kind of like an axis lock, and then whenever we get it rotated around, the spring pushes them in place. But instead of having a bar running this way across a knife like an axis lock, we have a bolt and not something with threads on it, just a hardened piece of round steel that is sliding up there against that spot in the blade, that flat that we were looking at. And it causes for very, very good lockup. And while we've got it open here, we'll go back to the blade. We have a standard Spyderco leaf-shaped blade made out of CPM S30V, full flat ground, And it's about 3 inches long and about a 2.7 edge length, because we have a little bit of our edge taken up with this forward finger choil, which, you know, some people complain about it on the Spydercos. Most of the time I'm fine with that, because it really enhances the ergonomics of the knife. As far as initial sharpness, whenever you pick one of these up, Spyderco does a pretty good job, and they did a good job with this one. I have sharpened it mostly because I prefer the smooth, polished edge for some of the work I do with the knife. As far as ergonomics and handling of the knife, it's got a Spidey hole in it, so we can Spidey flick it, we can thumb flick it. Ambidextrous, so we can swap our hands around, do it with the other hand. Not a problem. And once you have it open, you have a little jimping up the thumb ramp, you got a little bit of jimping here, and that's all the jimping on the knife. And it's a Tai Sheng Taiwan jimping, so it's a little less aggressive than a US-made Spyderco or a Japanese-made Spyderco. And that's okay. It works pretty darn good. You know, whenever I first picked up the Sage series, I was like, whoa, I don't know if I like that, but I've learned to really like it. You know, is it better than the others? No, it's just different. And whenever you put your hand around this thing, well, it's a Sage, and it's kind of like a Mannix. It just works. You've got your forward finger choil, you've got another somewhat soft choil here, and then, of course, the rear of your handle. And all those soft curves that Spyderco has put in this thing, whenever you get your hand around it, they just work. And, you know, that's a beautiful thing. And it doesn't really matter how you get a hold of it. The knife does its job, and does its job pretty freaking well. In fact, I carry a Sage a lot, probably a lot more than I should. I should be carrying that Mannix more often. And as you saw, it is just a really fine knife, works extremely well. It's disappointing to see it go away, but hopefully Spyderco will come in with some new bolt action lock knives in new and exciting designs or something. Well guys, that's the Spyderco Sage 3. Decided to go ahead and do this video because Spyderco put this on the discontinued list for next year. And you know, I do understand why. It's kind of a sad thing though. The bolt lock in this knife is extremely good. I really like it. But, you know, like we looked at in the Sage versus Mannix, we do have a bit of a problem here. The Mannix 2 lightweight and the Sage 3 are so close together in size, and you know, it's not wearing carbon fiber, but overall for everyday carry and slightly heavier tasks, the Mannix is probably the better knife. You know, the Sage 3 looks better doing it, but the Mannix is probably a slightly better knife. Anyhow, I hope to see some bolt locks from Spyderco in the future, maybe in some different designs. And I really appreciate you stopping by to hang out with me for a few minutes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.